I've been driving this up and down Loveland for like the past 15-20 minutes, and I gotta say it's been like the most enjoyable drive in a Model 3 I've ever done. What's going on, guys? It's Brandon, or teslaflex, and today I'm here at Tesla Loveland to do a demo drive of the refreshed Model 3. Before we get started, I want to take a moment to thank Magback for sponsoring this video. Magback makes the rim case, which is essentially a case for your Tesla's rims. The rim case comes in multiple different colors and helps protect your Tesla's rims from curb rash and even covers up existing damage. More on that later in this video. I want to quickly show you guys just how easy it is to schedule a demo drive. So right here on my other phone, I can go to tesla.com/drive. And the first thing that pops up is the different types of cars you can drive. So there's the Model S, 3, X, and Y. So I want to drive the Model 3. So I go there and I can actually put my zip code in real quick. So I'll just put in my zip code. And then after my zip code is in, it actually finds me times and locations. So right here, it's actually showing that Loveland, the service center I'll be test driving that, has it available. So I can choose my date, and you can pretty much choose any time within like a 2-week range. And then you can, of course, choose the time. So I have it scheduled for 10 a.m., but you can see this full day is available. So you could also just walk right in, and then they scan your license. If you do it through the actual app, then if you go in your Tesla app, if you already have a Tesla, you can actually go right here and see your Model 3 demo drive information. And that's where you can upload your information like your license. That way you can skip that step when you check in for the demo drive. But after you do the demo drive, Tesla sends you an email just kind of saying like, this is the car you drove. No pressure. You can place an order whenever. They're not going to be like a dealership kind of saying like, you know, breathing down your neck, like asking like, oh, you're interested? Are you interested? Or like making you sign stuff, giving your information away just to test drive it. With Tesla, it's very simple. They want people in the seats. They want butts in seats. They want people to drive these cars around. So they make it very easy to test drive. So if you haven't done that already, I highly recommend you test drive the Model 3. And if you guys wanted to schedule your own demo drive, I will of course have the link in the description below. But let's get going with the demo drive. Right up here is the Model 3 I'll be test driving. Right here, right up front. So I just gotta walk in to check in with them. And then I'm able to take the car out and drive it around for about 30 minutes. So this right here is the long-range Model 3 in stealth gray with black interior and the 18-inch Photon wheels. So like I said, when you do a demo drive and you have the Tesla app, it shows up in your Tesla app. So this one's a dual motor, like I said, 79 miles. So it hasn't been driven that much, but it's really nice to kind of give you the full experience of what the phone key would look like too. So there's some little exterior differences in the refresh versus the Legacy. So it has a brand new front bumper, different headlights, and then of course if we come to the back, it has a new rear bumper with a new rear diffuser and new taillights. There's the rear diffuser with, these are actually the blinkers if these are open, because these taillights are now one piece. And of course there's the Tesla lettering instead of a Tesla T. And pretty much that's all that's outside. So let's get inside real quick and let me show you what's different. So starting with the back seats, we have, you know, brand new interior, but the biggest thing is there's a rear display now. These back seats are actually perforated, but the middle seat is no longer heated. We have brand new door panels with some ambient lighting right here. These are actually physical clicky buttons. They're actually the full size now instead of like tiny ones, instead of a little piece of plastic right there. Carpet in the door pockets, emergency door release. Then going to the front, we have a brand new steering wheel with the Stockless Design. And again, Alcantara on the door panel and the premium interior only. Then we of course have, you know, the same visors, everything. This material is a little bit squishier now, which is interesting. And of course we have, so the Stockless Design, all of the controls are on the steering wheel, which means that like turn signals right here, it's a physical button. So the one I drove in Europe had like kind of a hybrid. It was like kind of haptic, kind of clicky, but mostly haptic. And then right here we have the screen. The bezels are slightly thinner, nothing too crazy. I mean, it's also more responsive, which is, you know, a nice little improvement right there. Brand new center console. So this one uses 2 little doors instead of just the one and cup holders. So this opens up the cup holders and this goes right here. Here we have our cigarette lighter outlet right there. Has been moved over here from the console. But right here we actually see this is a magnetic armrest. So we lost one USB-C port. We have one USB-C port that's 65 watts, as well as the 2 back here below the rear display. I think they're just still 18 watts. We have a brand new glove box with a magnetic latch instead of like an actual, you know, traditional one. It's just kind of loud, which hopefully maybe they can use like some kind of fabric to fix that. And then of course, my favorite feature, we have cooled seats finally. So This is only for the front seats, but it's definitely a huge improvement over the last generation. And because this is the premium interior, it has 17 speakers. So if you look on the rear wheel drive, if you test drive it, you'll notice there's no speaker in that area, but on the long range, there is. So we have 17 speakers. So there's 2 right there, 2 right here, 3 up here, and then 1 up here, right here, and then a couple back there, some of the back doors. But I can't share any of what the music sounds like on video without getting any copyright strikes, but I will tell you that it is bumping, especially compared to my Model Y over here. Like, it just feels so much quieter in my Model Y. All right, guys, we're just about to go do the drive, but before we do that, I want to talk about my sponsor for this video. Magback makes the rim case, which is essentially a case for your Tesla's rims. But one of the huge benefits about the rim case is that it fits around the wheel perfectly and it stays on there. Actually, kind of funny story. So I was trying to leave my apartment today, but I was in a rush. So I actually curbed my back left rim, but because I had the rim case on, I was able to just take off that broken piece and then replace it with a brand new one. So now it looks like nothing ever happened. But if you add up the cost of how much it costs to like actually replace a rim or repair a rim, over time that adds up. I highly recommend them. I've been using my rim case since around September, and it has prevented a lot of accidental curb rash, because as much as you try, it's hard to avoid curb rash. And especially in Teslas with their lower profile tires, it's really something you don't want to risk. And I see way too many Model Ys with curb rash. So go check them out in the description below, and don't forget to use code teslaflex15 to save 15% on your order. All right, guys, so we're just about ready to go on our demo drive. So I put my foot on the brake, and this has auto shift, so I can actually press my foot on the brake and then go on the accelerator, and it puts me in drive. So really intuitive. They've had this on the Model S and Model X since 2021, so it's nice that they're finally bringing that down to the Model 3. So I can actually press on the steering wheel to turn right, let these cars get out of the way. We also have a full truck of Model Ys, which is a little interesting. Don't know who's gonna get these Model Ys. But here, I'll get over, because they have a full truck of Model Ys. I'm just gonna go around them. Even like if I launch it a little bit, it just feels really smooth. I'm not really hearing any wind noise, which is really cool. And to enable autopilot, there's no stocks, like I said earlier. So I pressed down on the steering wheel button on the right, and someone actually went and turned on the rainbow mode. So I can turn that off, or I can just leave it on, but it's actually a little Easter egg that was added in. You used to have to press down the stock 4 times and it would play like the More Cowbell song. But yeah, right here, it's doing a pretty good job, and it's autopilot, so it works pretty well. One thing I'm noticing is like, it feels a lot more like my Model Y. And my Model Y is on the 21-inch wheels, and it still does a really good job with like the road comfort. So if I put my left turn signal on, it will actually blink at me if there's a car in the way. So that's really nice. I wish the blind spot indicator was a little bit bigger, or maybe like on the mirror. They already have the whole thing like where it will show up red if you like do it, but you have that, and then you have the actual blinking thing right there. I just gotta say, I'm like impressed. The one thing I didn't love about the standard range Model 3 that I drove in Europe was the speakers just weren't that great. And I've been playing some music in here, and it sounds honestly maybe about the same as the Cybertruck. And the Cybertruck is one of the best like audio systems I've heard. And that's better than the Model X, which was better than the Model S, which was better than the Model Y. This is like a whole new level of sound. So I really appreciate that Tesla is, while they're cutting costs on some things, they're also keeping the price the same and adding a bunch of new features. So I'm sure their margin on the Model 3 probably went up a little bit, but they also didn't just like take stuff out. They made it more streamlined. Like, this feels way better to drive around than my previous Model 3 did. It just feels different. It feels refined. Model 3 now has acoustic glass, just like the Model S, X, and Cybertruck. So it's 360 degrees. We have double pane glass all around, and I mean, you can hear it when you knock on it. It just feels more solid. Definitely helps keep the noise out, which is a big reason it got 30% quieter. But if I go on the steering wheel and I press, so on the Model S and Model X, I think they actually just changed this. If you would press right here, the horn was in the center, but now the horn is in the center, I'm pretty sure, on newer builds. It's now a camera right here, so I press it down and it pops up my rear camera, my side cameras. I can have it set to just be my rear camera, but I open my camera a lot. Like, that's why, like, the first thing I did was actually move it down here for the demo drive, because I'm always opening and closing it. But it's really nice that it's just right here. And then we have our multifunctional button, which has always been a multifunctional button since the update. people were like thinking that it was like something you press down, but no, it's literally just like an icon, kind of like how this right here, I don't know if you can see it, there's an auto steer icon that you would press down. You press down the scroll wheel, but it's like to the right of it or to the left of it to show like that's what the button does. So if anyone's confused, like that's what the multifunctional button really is. It's literally just a button that's always been there. They just kind of renamed it slightly. Like, so in the Cybertruck, it said multifunctional button, but not active. It's just because they didn't have the software installed for it. When they can actually get the standard range Model 3 at $35,000 and then have a $25,000 Tesla, it's perfect for Tesla because that's like the majority of the market is looking for a cheap EV. And I can trust that Tesla is going to do an amazing job with the Model 2 or Model Q, you know, the $25,000 car, whatever they're calling it. We'll find out. I've been driving this up and down Loveland for like the past 15-20 minutes, and I gotta say it's been like the most enjoyable drive in a Model 3 I've ever done. My performance Model 3, it was a great car. I mean, it didn't have any like actual issues, but it was loud. Only the front windows had the double pane glass, but it was just loud. There was wind noise. It was like you could hear the wheels, and I guess it did have the 20-inch performance wheels, which could be, you know, attributed to all the extra road noise. But besides that, like it was just loud. And this, it feels a lot quieter. It feels a lot smoother. I really like the suspension improvements. I love the ambient lighting. The door panels feel really nice. I'm also really liking the Stockless design. It's pretty controversial for some people. They just don't think that it's actually like useful or like that's hard to use. And you know, from a European standpoint, I didn't understand it first, but now I totally understand. Like when you're roundabouts, you have to signal to go in and out, and if you're like your wheels are turned, you have to like kind of reach, like just to actually like press the button. So I can see why it's a little bit more annoying, but I do know that my friends at Enhance are making some stocks. So if anyone is interested in that, I will have a video coming out about that later on, of course, when I get my Model 3. I'm so glad they like finally realized like the horn needs to be in the middle, because could you imagine there is no center horn on the Model 3? It sells way more than the Model S and Model X. So I think it would be pretty controversial if they didn't leave the horn in the center. If you have like a 2017 to 2020 Model 3 and you are interested in checking this out or even upgrading, I would highly recommend you test drive the refresh Model 3, because those people that have like the people that have the like first gen Model 3s, they're gonna notice immediately the difference. I mean, they're gonna notice the difference in the road noise, the difference in the driving dynamics, all like the center console, because they have the first gen center console. All of these little things, they just add up. Going from like a 2021 to 2023 Model 3, maybe not the most necessary upgrade, but of course it's still an option, so you can check it out as well. All right, guys, we just got back from the demo drive. Overall, I'm really impressed with everything. Tesla has done a really good job with kind of refining everything and, you know, not changing it too much to where it's a more complicated version of the car, but realistically just making it a better car. It's great to see that Tesla has constantly improved the cars, and I'm really loving these new features. I think this is gonna be a hit in the US market. So if it doesn't have a tax credit now, it definitely will in the future. But you know, right now they're not in a huge rush to get the tax credit, because if they had the tax credit, I was thinking about this other day, it would actually be worse for them if the Model 3 qualified for the tax credit right now, because then people would order it like crazy and they'd have a huge backlog, and it would just put them behind, and they probably would pushing deliveries and then maybe raising prices more. So right now, I think it's probably good the tax credit isn't available. But before we get going, guys, I want to thank the sponsor of this video one more time. Thank you to Magback for sponsoring this video. They make the rim case. The rim case protects your wheels from damage, and it even covers up existing damage. And I love how it seamlessly blends with the wheel, so you can't even really tell it's there. And of course, don't forget to use code teslaflex15 to save 15% on your order. All right, guys, that's going to be all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know down in the comments what your favorite feature of the refreshed Model 3 is. Personally, mine is the ambient lighting and the cool seats. And of course, if you have any questions about the refreshed Model 3, feel free to ask in the comments as well. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one.